Welcome back to Attacking Third. Washington Spirit. They made it all the way to the championship last year in 2024, and now we get to talk about it. We're doing team needs for every single club, and it's hard when we get to the top two teams, so we're breaking them down today. Washington Spirit, they finished second in the standings. They were only 4 points behind the Shield winners, Orlando. They had 18 wins, 2 draws, 6 losses. But listen to this, guys. They scored 51 goals in 2024. That is second for best in the league, just behind Kansas City, who had 57. On the defensive side of things, Washington only conceded 28 goals. That's tied for the third fewest during the regular season. It was an attack-heavy team and a defensive strong team for Washington Spirit. They advanced all the way to the final versus Orlando, and they did it in the quarterfinal, getting a 2-1 win over Bay, and then in a semifinal, getting that late equalizing goal against Gotham to send it into extra time, and then penalty kicks in which Aubrey Kingsbury made 3 massive saves, and Washington advanced 3-0 on penalties. And then ultimately they lost 1-0 in the final to Orlando Pride. Now, Darian, besides the easy next thing to say is Washington has to win the championship next, right? That's the next logical step. But aside from that, where does the Spirit go from here?
Where did they go? I think they were really out of luck last year with the injuries that they had. I mean, every team had knocks, but I mean, you bring out the rookie of the year, probably one of the most impressive players of 2024. Corey Bethune goes out with a knee injury for the rest of the season. Trinity Rodamn goes down with a back injury. They lost a lot of firepower going forward. Not even to mention Ule Mazasar, who had to go out due to an injury as well. So really, they just need their players to stay healthy. One note I had for the Spirit after last season was I think they made the goals that they did concede, albeit not that many, came from a lot of their own mistakes out of the back. I think we saw a lot of learning moments from, Tara McKeown, who gave up some penalties, specifically I'm thinking against Orlando in the season. And I think that there just needs to be a little bit more leadership in the back line. And I love that they got Bernal back there. I think that is such a good move, having even more leadership, more depth. Now they can maybe possibly play in a 3-back, which I think I've said that about every single team.
Darian, you want every team in a 3-back.
Everybody just full send. Just go. Everybody just go up. Keep your 3 center backs. They'll hold it down in the back line. But I do think that it's a really good move. It's a lot of leadership. That's really the only place for me that they needed to tighten up. And then maybe even using Ashley Hatch more. I mean, she really stepped up in the latter half of the season when everybody went down. I think she could be even more of a staple on this team as a starter, and you need to figure out how to keep her in.
I absolutely agree with you, Darian. The addition of Bernal in the back, I'm super excited to see how well her and McKeown are going to play together. I think with McKeown, I think she's been impressive enough knowing that her natural position is at the striker position. So going from the front to the back is like night and day. And, she was able to play at the international level for the U.S. Women's National Team. But with, with the amount of injuries that they had last season, I think that's what kind of bit them in the tail a little bit. I think that with Corey Bethune, y'all know she was my favorite player to watch all season long. I said it first game of the NWSL season last year. She was nothing short of amazing. So as she gets more experience in that midfield position, I mean, I think that they're going to grow immensely in the midfield. And like you said, Ashley Hatch, can we see her starting this season? Because she showed up and showed out last season for this team when they needed her. And we're going to see what that looks like. But if they can stay healthy, I think this Washington Spirit roster, they look dominant, and I think that they really could be.
Washington with this is the team to beat this year in my eyes. For 2025, Washington, I think, can go all the way and win the championship because they have, yes, Darian.
You said it here, everybody. Clip it.
I'm saying it. Washington has the belief and the confidence in themselves and in their style of play. They have depth off the bench that we saw last year. And if you look at 2024 Washington Spirit just on paper, it was not successful. it was not successful, right? I mean, they had a coaching change in June. They had season-ending injuries to major players that changed the game for them, with Anna Helferty in the back line, which caused defensive instability for the Spirit. Andy Sullivan in the midfield, Croy Bethune, Saar at the end of the season. She had to be out for the final. But they also had rookies that stepped up in massive, massive ways. All 6 rookies that Washington played with last year had huge impacts. They scored 15 goals, 12 assists. Every single one of them scored a goal. So with a full preseason, a full season under Jonah Giraldez, Washington is a 2025 favorite because they had a successful year despite all the setbacks that Washington faced last year. They had it all in the palm of their hands. And now they get to go and do that again this year, plus adding Japanese international Narumi into the midfield, who's going to spice things.
Yeah.
Maybe add some versatility in how Giraldez can play based on different opposition that Washington's going against. Now, this is a big season for Trinity Rodamn in my eyes, because it is her last season on her current contract that she signed back in 2022. It was the biggest at the time, $1.1 million for a 4-year deal, plus her option that was picked up for the 2025 season. Jess, could this potentially be Trinity Rodman's last year, even in the NWSL?
I think that she will have huge decisions to make, but this is just my opinion. I think that it would be good for her to try and go play overseas and get some experience elsewhere. She's been fantastic in the NWSL. She's proved herself here. I think that she is obviously one of the faces right now in the NWSL, but I think it would be a good experience for when her contract is up. She'll have some clubs overseas that are going to show some interest in her, and maybe that'll spark her football intelligence at the end of the day. So we'll see what that looks like. Of course, if I'm Washington Spirit, I want to re-sign her. I would love to pick up her option year. But I think moving forward, just to get a sprinkle of experience elsewhere, I think it'd be really good for Trinity Rodamn to grow as a player.
In the final year of your contract, Z, do you play differently?
You ball out. You ball out. I don't think she's going to change her game at all. We're going to see this charismatic, cheeky, stylish, dope player on the field like we've seen since her rookie season, her first game when she came out and scored. I think we're going to see her grow a lot more. This last year was insane for this player. I mean, we were talking before the cameras came out. I'm like, Trinity Rodamn is the face of the NWSL. She is one of the biggest faces in the world representing women's sports, specifically women's soccer. So you go out and you have fun. You ball out. You're with one of the best coaches, proven best coaches in the world under Jonah Giraldez. And I think it's going to develop her game even more. If I'm the NWSL and I'm Washington Spirit, and Michelle Moneybags Kang, I'm doing everything to keep Trinity Rodamn there. I mean, she is absolutely so emblematic for the sport in the United States and now becoming the world. And she's still really young. She has time to go to Europe. But I think she just goes and balls out this year and enjoys the moment, especially without a major tournament this year, where she can really just focus on NWSL being healthy week to week. Let's go. I'm really excited to see how she's going to play. And I mean, she's already has been learning a lot under Jonah Giraldez and his team, but now that they have a full season together, it's go time. I would be fearful to play the Washington Spirit this year.
Title contenders?
I'll agree with you, Carl. Yes, title contenders for sure. I think they're the team that has a huge target on their back from last season.
But doesn't that make them hungrier that they lost it on the last day? Exactly. I think they're going all the way. Jess, where do you stand on this line? Title contenders for Washington Spirit?
Yeah, I would have to agree because I think they have something to prove here. I mean, the semi for Kansas City was a little rough at the end of the game. So we'll see how that looks. I think Washington Spirit will go all the way into the championship. They, like, depth wise, they're going to be a very difficult team to beat. I think Kansas City might linger in there though. but we'll see how that looks. I think Chewinga needs a little help up top, but that's a whole nother story.
Washington grinded out gritty wins last year. I think they're going to be a little smoother this year. I think they're going to have a little bit more suave on the ball and under Jonah Heraldez be able to, be unstoppable, especially because they lost it on the last day. And it came down to penalties in the semifinal. Like they were so close, and that fuels you. That fuels you. Absolutely fuels you. I'm going with it. Washington 2025 champs. We'll
wow.
see.
Really clipped that.
Yeah.
Right. If I were like a Lacey Santos and I have Angelina's push embedded into my head that ended up resulting in Barbara Banda's goal in the NWSL final, I'm using that in every speech against the Orlando Pride to fuel the team. I mean, you don't forget moments like that, so they're going to bring the heat anytime. And this Challenge Cup game is going to be the first sign of it.
Probably hitting that weight room a little more too, so we'll see about that.
Don't go anywhere,
your arm's already jacked. We don't need you to hit the weight room more. You're pregnant and still have more muscles in your arm than I've had in my whole body.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right, that's Washington Spirit. That's it. We're done talking about them. We're moving on.